fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go! So we finally got the release of one of my most anticipated movies of the year, Deadpool and Wolverine. I have been so excited for this movie. I could not wait to watch this movie. I finally watched it. This is what I think of it. And I gotta say right off the bat, this is probably one of the most epic things I've ever seen in a while. Like, seriously, it's been a while since I've seen something this epic, this awesome, this amazing. I just had a blast watching this in theaters. Like, seriously, bro, this is probably the most fun I had in theater in a long time. Honestly, I would say if you like the other Deadpool movies, like if you enjoyed those other Deadpool movies, the first and the second one, you probably more likely watch this one and enjoy it. I gotta say, that opening scene that we get, definitely it plays a little similar to the other two previous movies, to where we get some kind of action scene and some music thrown in. And the song choice they used for that opening scene was crazy. It was insane. It's like it seems like it shouldn't fit, but somehow it fits in the way that the action is queued up to the music. Chef's kiss. I busted out laughing at that opening scene. It was hilarious. Really, one of the things I was looking forward to with this movie was going to be the team up of Deadpool and Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, longtime friends, best friends as they say, and to be able to get them together in this movie, as their characters, Deadpool and Wolverine, I was definitely excited to see that. And I gotta say, they did not fail us. They definitely were awesome together in the movie. The way they were bickering, the way their banter was, their chemistry on screen was amazing, awesome, just overall epic to see on screen. The way that they had their action scenes together, the way that they just came together and just had this chemistry with each other, to where it's like they're butting heads, they're bickering like an old married couple, and it was just funny, hilarious all around. It made just for a good movie. I gotta say, I was definitely, I was like wondering, how are they not going to taint the legacy of Wolverine with the way that we got Logan, the Logan movie, where it basically ended off Logan's story so well. And I gotta say, this movie does not necessarily touch that. It doesn't really go towards the Logan way, to where it's like it messes up that film in any way or anything like that. But it does do a great job of continuing this role of Wolverine with Hugh Jackman. And just being able to see him in this movie was an amazing, awesome experience. The way he plays Wolverine and continues to play this role, it's still amazing performance by him.
Wait! You may be wondering...
You may be asking yourself, did they water down this movie? And I gotta happily say that no, they did not water it down. You get all the Deadpool things just like their previous other two movies. This is definitely an R-rated movie. The action is good and so well done. The way that we have a lot of blood, and it's definitely bloody in this movie. It is a lot of fun to see. We get all the cussing, we get all the crassness, all the same jokes that are still funny, new jokes. When it comes to some of the cameos were really fun to see. I had to say, this is definitely a movie that had some great cameos in it, and really it's kind of questioning like how they are cameos when they actually did kind of sort of play a part in the movie. They actually had some extended runtime in the movie. They weren't just like here 1 second and gone the next. They actually, the cameos actually kind of stick around a little bit. But it was definitely awesome to see those characters come back, or the characters that we do see in the movie. There was definitely some ones that I was kind of expecting, and I gotta say, there is definitely a couple of surprises I wasn't expecting. I would definitely say this movie has a lot of fan service. The fan service in this movie is off the charts. This is definitely an event film for fans, for Marvel fans alike. I would say this is definitely reminiscent to like Spider-Man No Way Home, to where that was definitely an event film for Marvel fans, almost like a Spider-Man love letter to fans. And I would say this one is definitely along the same lines, to where this is a love letter to fans who were fans of Marvel, who are fans of basically, I would say the 2000s Marvel movies is definitely a love letter to them. If you experienced those movies whenever they were around in the 2000s, this is definitely geared towards you and is for you. Definitely for Marvel fans, even if you're a comic book fan, or the comics, or just movies in general, you are going to catch something, catch a reference. There's definitely some comic book references that comic fans will be able to catch. There's movie references that movie fans will be able to catch. in a way that this movie just feels like it's sort of a last hurrah for past Marvel movies. More specifically, probably movies from the 2000s era. I just gotta say, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I had a blast. It had me laughing, smiling throughout the whole feature. To be honest, this is probably the most I've laughed in a movie in a long time, I gotta say. The jokes are so funny, they're still pretty funny, and the meta-ness that we get in this, whether they're talking about comic book references, the movies, even real life, they do go after some people for like real life things, and it's pretty funny to see in the movie. The irreverence is insane and off the charts. Well, honestly, it has a great soundtrack too. I remember they, kind of released the soundtrack a little early before the movie, and I was taking a look at that list, and I was just saying, this is going to be some great music to hear in the movie. I just can't wait to hear how they interpret and put this music into the actual movie itself. And I think one thing that people don't talk about is the Deadpool movie soundtracks. That honestly, I think they're a little underrated. You know, a lot of people talk about like Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, the music they use in there, or Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, or whole Spider-Verse movies. But honestly, looking back and recently rewatching the Deadpool movies, the first two movies, and then watching this movie, they honestly have some pretty good soundtracks that I don't think are talked about enough. The way that they use the music in here to where it feels or seems like it won't work, but somehow they make the music work, and the songs that they specifically choose, they somehow make it work within the scenes that they use it in. Honestly, I think it's a little underrated that Deadpool's soundtrack is not really talked about too much. The violence and action in here is a lot of fun. It's bloody. The way that some of the action scenes felt like, with the way they were shot, I feel like you're like kind of reading a comic book, like, panel to panel. The way it's like moving and the way it's shot is almost like a side-scrolling video game at times. And it's shot pretty well, and it just looks amazing and awesome, to be honest, with these action scenes. I would say probably for the most part, it doesn't have serious major implications for the MCU as a whole, but there is maybe a little thing here and there that I would say time will tell if those actually do, those details actually do become important in the future of the MCU. But as far as this movie is concerned, at face value, there was not really any major implications going on for the MCU as a whole. But time will tell, like I said. Now, I want to say Cassandra Nova really was a top tier villain, but honestly, she was a good villain for this movie. I think she fits the movie well. The way that this character was played, honestly, was well done, and I really did kind of like the villain. The way, as it's said in the movie, is that she's Charles Xavier's sister. So the way that she has sort of similar powers, but she does have some powers that are kind of her own. And the way that she gets into people's minds, it's kind of body horror in a way, and it's almost kind of disgusting at times the way she like gets into your mind. You'll see it if you watch the movie, you'll see how she actually does it. But it's like body horror, kind of disgusting a little bit. Like I say, one scene in there is that a lot of people are probably been waiting for. I know I've certainly been waiting for at least 24 years for it. Is when we finally get Logan, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine in full cow uniform costume with the whole cow dressed up in yellow and blue. It's amazing in the movie, and when that scene happens, I I could not stop smiling at that scene. It was amazing and awesome, and the way that we just waited for such a long time to get that scene, and we finally get it. It's awesome and epic in the movie when it happens. But honestly, even though this movie was definitely hilarious and funny at times, it does have a little emotional heart going on here. The story is definitely might be able to pull at some people's heartstrings a little bit to see where Deadpool is at in his life now and what he's willing to do to just basically save people or, save the people he loves. I'm not going to lie, it might be able to pull at your heartstrings a little. But when it comes to some of the original Deadpool characters that we got from the first two movies, I will say though, they're not in the movie that much. They're basically more in the beginning part of the movie, and then they come back at the end of the movie. And like I was saying before, this definitely feels like it's a love letter to comic book fans, especially from the movies of the early 2000s or, during the 2000s era. It feels like it's a tribute, last hurrah. Overall, it's a great theater experience for fans, and honestly, almost like a celebration. Just celebrates things from the past. So overall, when it comes down to this movie, I highly enjoyed it. It definitely is probably my new favorite Deadpool movie. It's definitely one I enjoyed so much. I had a blast with it. It kept me laughing, it kept me smiling throughout the whole movie. It was such an amazing, awesome, and epic theater experience overall. I'm definitely going to have to go for round 2 to see this movie. So this is definitely an awesome, exciting, epic experience in theaters. I highly recommend y'all go check it out. But let me know down in the comments below if you've seen this movie already. What did you think of it? That's going to do it all for this video. Hopefully y'all all enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe and turn notifications on so you know I post another video. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next one.